So blockchain and Web 3.0 is not more something that is impossible. It's actually a reality right now because a huge amount of money is being lost right now in Ethereum, in the world of decentralized finance. Think about the likes of Luna and Anchor protocol giving you 20% for your interest, for locking up your USDT. So you take your dollars, you lock it up, and you get 20% APY. That's what the banks can do, right? The web, as we see to the web 2.0, it's okay, right? It's brought about permissionless innovation. You can upload any video, you can upload any article, you can create works and the rest of it, but there are some constraints in it, right? There is stuff with data privacy. Facebook is currently having a lawsuit where they are being sued because they tracked users even offline, even people that were not even using it. And then there is data monopoly. The more data you have, the more power you have. You can enable people to access API, or you can restrict them. And there are a lot of things that are bad. All of the likes of Bitcoin came. So Bitcoin brought about payments, having a digital store of value, and then Ethereum brought about permissionless programmability. When you look at Ethereum and the rest of the network, of which we'll look at, we'll see some design flaws, which Daniel is trying to understand. So why do we have the need for decentralization? Well, we want developers to build illegal operations without restriction. Another thing again is the platforms to which other servers to which they store their apps. Anybody can take off the applications. Even the government can say, hey, take that away. So we want this solution. So what is the solution that NIA is bringing? We have usability, scalability, and sustainability. So for usability, NIA has a bridge to Ethereum. So if you're coming from Ethereum, you can bridge to NIA. If you're coming from NIA, you can bridge to Ethereum. So it's not an Ethereum killer, as many people say. So many people are actually designing blockchains right now because when Ethereum came, it was designed, but the flaws were seen later, right? It's not perfect, but it's good. It's working. So many people are designing blockchains right now. They are designing the blockchain in the system here. They want to kill Ethereum. No, you have to put certain things into perspective. One of the things is, for me, the usability. For the end user, it's what we call the progressive security model. When you onboard users, you should be able to have a system here, like you are testing the stuff. When you sign up for, let's say, centralized exchange, you just sign up with your basic email or phone number, and then with time, you will talk about the likes of, okay, do I introduce zero authentication? Do I introduce SMS OTP? Do I introduce fingerprint? Do I introduce? And then there's easy subscription. So, easy subscription is, you as a developer, you can pay, because the fees on here, which talk about, are very, very cheap. You can pay the fees, they are very, very minor. Imagine, for example, you're a developer, you put down $1,000. Do you know how many transactions are going to happen with this amount? We're talking about thousands, if not even millions of transactions that are going to take place with that. So there's easy subscription. When users come in, they can just test the system. I don't have to buy Ethereum or whatsoever token to be able to interact with the system. I want a way where I can just come to the system. Like when you are using applications, we have what we call trial models and also that. So easy subscriptions. And there's familiar usage styles. Oh, I want to be using Web3 applications without even knowing about it. I don't want the whole complexities around sign up for a wallet and the rest of it. And there's predictable pricing. So in Ethereum, for example, most of the times we have to come to the network and say, okay, nobody's using the network now, it's not congested. Let's use the network. I pay maybe $15, $20. But when there is huge traffic, you're paying $200. So there's no predictable pricing. And supposing that there's an enterprise that is using an application on such a blockchain, how do you account for budgeting? How do you budget for using a kind of app? It's very hard because you cannot, the platform will not be using the staff salary to be doing transaction fees. Why? Because it's unpredictable and they needed to do something. So there has to be a way to forecast into the future and say that this is how much we need for transactions. For me, for the developers, when you're coming to the system, you don't have to deal with the complexities of Solidity and the rest of them. Do you know how to use Rust? Everybody knows how to use Rust. Everybody knows how to, and many people knows how to use Assemblyscript. If you already have basic understanding of working with JavaScript, there's robust tooling. There's developer business models. When you are programming, unlike systems like this where the likes of Google and the rest of them get everything. When you are programming on this stuff, there's something called contract rewards. So you can program in the contract and say, for every transaction that happens in the network, let's say X percentage goes to the developer or the team that did this stuff. And then there's predictable pricing for you as a developer. You're not going to build applications that people will not use because it says that the transaction fee in the network is too cost. No, we don't want system like that. Threshold proof of stake will not go into details into what that is. Epoch rewards or rewards are issued per epoch. Epoch time frame and error. Protocol treasury. So once for every transaction that happens on the network, there is a X amount of it that goes into the particular treasury, and we can use those amounts to fund projects and do a lot of things. Transaction costs are very cheap, like I've outlined. Talk about contract rewards, and then there's a 5% annual inflation. So the 5% annual inflation is what we're using incentivizing validators on the network in the rest of them. So let's talk about some of the economic stakeholders on the network. We have validators, developers, end users to come up with the information. Each of them need each other. Let's talk about validators. We have the likes of block producers. These are people that produces blocks. Chunk producers, they produce chunks. And then we have hidden validators that help with validating the stuff when they are hidden in the way. Then we have fishermen. Fishermen, they act like police. Their function is to just detect abnormal behavior on the network. And we fail to realize that in the network, there are lots of economic stakeholders. We have the Ethereum Foundation, we have the miners or the validators, we have others. When you are designing a system, you have to put the economic incentives in a way that it profits everybody. Ethereum burning the fees is going to profit token holders, but the question is, are token holders secure in the network? That is one thing. Now, the miners saying that you should not go this route. The question is, will users continue paying the high fees? So when NIA was designed, it puts every single person into perspective. You are a validator, you need people. You cannot validate except there are transactions on the network. And there cannot be transactions on the network except the end users use the platform. And the end users cannot use the platform if there are no developers on the platform. And the developer cannot develop on the platform if there are no users to use it. So everybody in the system, it's need everybody in the system. So everybody needs everybody. Not for scalability, we will not make this video. But for me, state and processes are sharded. And then there is this tradition in a system where the cost of becoming a validator is very, very low. There are no minimums and there are no maximums. So anybody, you can be a validator, you can be a delegator, you can delegate your stake and the rest of them. So there are new business models as well. And then what is the utility of the token? You have staking, payment, and then governance on the network. So before we go, let's talk about some of the growth plan. We have the open web sandbox, of which I will link in the video. So it's basically a place where people can come, render services, and put consistent growth. We have Git and contributors. These are people who have committed to promote NIA within any capacity they can. We have the open web initiative. This is a platform to invest and not short that have open web, they will have talent. I think there's $1 million allocated to that. They have in the academy. So this is the website of Near Protocol. You can start building awesome protocols in less than 5 minutes, and there are plenty of examples that you can go through and start building. So this building on here, we have flux. I talk about flux, we have meat base, and even one is trying to go over to near, also open a branch in here, and a lot of things you can apply to the open web cooperative. You can join the ecosystem, you can join a guild, and do all manner of things. So Nia is the network is very, very cheap when it comes to transactions. But I just kept this. I wanted to transact on a website for a combo. Or this applies to many of these Ethereum apps, as you can see, Ethereum minute. And this is the fees it's telling. They have to pay $86 to transact. That is ridiculous, right? So with that, with Nia, everything's gonna change. So start building.